Flight crew, please prepare for takeoff.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Full Transparency Trading. It's the middle of the night. We're in a trade right now. We are up $300. This is our stop loss. We're going to slide our stop loss up to just below this blue line. Click modify there. We're going to move our take profit area up to this line here now. Click modify order. So we're at 375 now. They're at 375 on this page. We're at 4 something on the other. And we're just being now we're going to slide our stop loss in just a second here. That is a $400 trade. Now, the reason I'm sliding my stop loss up is because I'm trailing where the profit's going. And I don't want to lose these profits. I want to go ahead and lock them in. Once we get here, I'm going to lock it into the next level too. We're looking for 1,000. Which in the next 10 minutes will probably break. And as you can see, on the 15 minute, the 200 EMA is way up here. On the 5 minute, it's a lot lower. So we'll slide this to the 200 EMA. Click modify there. Slide that up. So we're going to secure more profits. As soon as this breaks this area and creates a new candle, we'll secure the profits of this candle. Okay, boom, we broke a candle. So now you click modify. We're going to slide our stop loss up to right here now. Click modify. So now we've locked in $400 no matter what. If there's a hard pullback, we have locked in $400. So I'm going to go over to my other trade. Close this here. So we're at 450. $475. So now we're going to shut this down, log out of this here, and we're going to go log into our other account. And on this account, we are currently sitting on 550 with the trade running up. So 525 total profit, 550 with the trade running up. We're going to keep it down there in that volume imbalance. We're not looking for it to push back through the volume imbalance, but we have locked in over $500 now. We just want to see this break this 50% here and continue to push up towards the 200 EMA. We're going to let this ride for as long as it wants to run. You know, we'll take 475 with no problem. We're way up on this trade right now. Okay, we're starting to see a little bit of a drawback, and that's perfectly fine. As you can see, my stop loss is right here. If it triggers my stop loss, then I get $450. You know, but you want to always secure as much profit as possible. The reason that I stated this volume imbalance is because usually it'll stay above the volume imbalance and continue to push up. Okay, so we triggered my stop loss. I am out of that trade, positive $450. 550 was the maximum that you saw. But you never want to get back all of the profit. You'll get back some of the profit. You never want to get back all of the profit when you're trailing your stop loss. So now we'll go over to the other page real quick. And as you can see, we've been kicked out on this page as well. I believe we made over $500 on this page. But that is a great, great trade, guys. We got in way down here. Remember where we had our 5064 that we've been trying to get into for over a day now? We finally came back down. We actually wicked way through it to 5060. Fortunately, that didn't hurt us at all. We stayed in our trade. Had it gone down to 5058, we would have been kicked out of the trade. I think like a $450 loss. So, you know, you have to place your stop loss where it's going to be invalid. And who knew that this is going to wick down so aggressively? Fortunately, we're down below that, and we get to stay in positive money. But that's it. That's another full transparency trading session. Between our two accounts, we just made $800. And that's awesome, guys. $800 between two accounts, and that's how you want to do it. You want to stack these accounts, right? Your goal, like I said, is $40,000 in 4 months, but the reality is $500 a day. We're already 4/5 of the way there, you know, so we're already right there on our way to $500 a day. We only need to earn $100 more on these two accounts, and then we're going to work on the other 2 accounts. So what I do is, let me click trade. I'm using a 2 contract system, right? And my trading style is taking a lot of patience. And what I do is I click a limit price, and then I find the absolute low that I've seen for that day. So now the absolute low would be 50.63. So now let's say I choose 50.63. I'm going to go ahead and click on 50.63 there. My take profit area is going to be $1,000. Okay, so 40 points. My take profit area is going to be 40 points. 50.73 would be my take profit area from here. I made it halfway to my take profit area. As you can see, 50.73 will put us right here, well inside of this large candle, which we're actually going to run into again. We haven't reached this volume imbalance yet, so we're still going to run up to the volume imbalance. What you're seeing is a quick drawdown. And the reason that I took profit early is because when you have a trailing threshold, they're counting the maximum amount of money that you reached for that trade. So I try to keep it within $100, my trailing threshold. So my trailing threshold goes up to, let's say, 53,300. 53,200 is the most. $100 is the most I want to lose off of a trade, where I'm in the positive, basically. So that's why I keep my trailing threshold $100 below. So we're going to continue to run up to this little gap here, and then eventually we have to come up and fill where you have this volume imbalance here where it started. And then if you go to the left, there's quite a fair value gap up in here. So once we get to the fair value gap, you should see us draw down again. As you see, we had a little bit of a pullback that kicked us out of our trade. This is going to continue to run at least up to this 50.72 for the time being, and then eventually to this 50.76. Now, what I won't do is I won't enter another trade in the middle. I do not like trading. I had to ask someone, my friend Davon, recently, how to get into a trade off of the drawbacks support, and he showed me how to do that and where you would drop your stop loss, which is kind of how I got in on this area here for this 50.64. And then, I'm just learning and putting everything together. But what I'm very comfortable with right now is trading off of my zones. If my zones say that it's going to come down to 50.64, then we're going to stay in that safe zone of 50.63 to 50.64. So let's say we did 50.63.75. $1,000 is 50.73.75, which is literally right here. Not even fully over this, but literally at this line here. Once we break that line, you'll sell for $1,000. But like I say, for my stop loss, no, I don't do $550 for my stop loss. I do a maximum of $325, just so if there's a crazy pullback, it'll be into this area right here. So for it would have to pull back basically all the way to the bottom to kick me out of my trade. But I'll risk $325 to gain $1,000 plus, and then I'll just slide as the trade goes along in my favor. I'll slide that up, so I'm never worried about losing that 325. But you saw I started the trade out up 325. We got a nice little push for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. So that's the most you can expect in this situation. It actually pulled back right around here, which I should have done. I was hoping that it would get all the way up to this candle, but it reached the body of this candle before it pulled back. And those are always going to be hard areas. You're always going to see pullbacks at the bodies of candles. Like if you have a wick push down here, expect for that body to give you a little bit of resistance area. Same thing for down here. If you see a wick pushing up and then the body form there, expect that candle to give you some support down here. So I'm looking at the support right here on that mark, and it pushed up to the resistance for the hour, which is right here at the top of this body. I wanted to push up to at least the top of this body before I got out. I would have got out with about $600, but beggars can't be choosers, guys. This market doesn't care what you feel. Trade with the charts, not with your heart, not with your feelings. Always trade mentally. Always trade off of what you're seeing. Sometimes even mentally, you might think that you're doing it mentally, but your emotions get in the way of how you're mentally handling your trade in the market. For instance, the reason that I slide my stop loss up also is because I'm horrible at when pullbacks happen. If a pullback happens, I'll get emotionally invested in the trade, and I'll be like, well, it's going to go back to here. It's going to go back to there. So I just move my stop loss up, and whatever happens, happens. I keep it in a $100 window. And every time we form a new candle, I move it up into a new $100 window. But as you can see, we pulled back up a little bit, but we're still pulling down, and that would have taken more money, and then I would have been sitting here in a trade down from $500 all the way to like $300, and then getting emotionally invested in that trade and holding and holding and holding, and maybe it pulls all the way back down here to 550, 60, and now I'm negative $400. So don't get emotionally invested in these trades. Try to keep it as systematic as possible. Try to keep it as simple as possible. You guys saw that I put a line right here and I say, hey, if it comes down there, put me in a trade. It came down, it put me in the trade, put me in the positive, and then I just rode it up. And then when I start to see the momentum slow, I move my stop loss up to below the line. And I had my stop loss set on the other one for my copy trade automatically before I came over here to do it manually so that I can show you guys for the video. But again, that's another full transparency trading session. We've added another $800 in the middle of the night. We will trade again probably at 6 o'clock. It's 5 a.m. right now. Be safe out there. Make smart decisions. Try not to get caught up in the chop, guys. Have a great day.